Okay, today's video is going to be about the squat range of motion. Okay, a lot of you have probably heard range of motion, range of motion, range of motion. It's super important. Okay, and there are plenty of examples of people doing like isometric holds and other versions of squatting and hinging and pressing and pulling that aren't full range of motion that like totally will display strength through the full range of motion. And so my argument, or not my argument, but my thing is like if you can't do the normal range of motion and normal human function, then like you don't get to have an exception to the rule yet. Like there are reasons why people can go through different, more complex workouts, but they've already like passed. They've already passed the like first exam. Now they're on like the second exam, and there are reasons why people can't go for range of motion. Some people have fused ankles because they had ankle surgery or some knee stuff going on, or hips. Right? If you've got pain in the associated movement, then it's like probably going to see your doc or your PT. Or we've got people who just, that's now what their joint does, and we can train around that. I'm not going to put someone into a full squat if they've got some reason why they can't. But if you're just like, you can't do it because you're not strong enough, that's not an excuse to go find all the other stuff that says, oh no, don't go through full range of motion. Okay? So the squat pattern is the one we see the most trouble with. And it's strength, it's mobility, it's coaching and cueing, all those things. And everyone's different. And so you can be strong in so many different ways, but the squat, I think for most of the movement patterns, people can do pretty poorly if they're not kind of called out on it. So basically here, what I have, even with like athletes I know can squat well, I'll still have them do this just to make sure. We've got some TRX straps, or you've got some sort of homemade strap, or even grab it onto a post, something that's sturdy, that's not going to give way. We're just going to have them hold onto the strap and coach them through a squat. Somewhere around shoulder width apart, toes can kind of be turned out. Everyone's a little different. Some people go wider and narrower. Some people have their toes pointed in different directions, but naturally kind of get into your squat pattern. All the way down, hips just to about the knees, back up. If I see someone do several of these with like very little pulling on the TRX straps, or like I can see kind of even slack in the TRX strap, I'm like, okay, great, that person can squat pretty well. We can dump the TRX straps, and we can start to work into goblet squats and other versions of the heavier squat patterns. But if I see someone kind of get in, or they're not really sure where their torso should be or where their hips should be, or I see them kind of like really give a good try hard face and pull themselves out of a squat, I'm going to keep them here for a really, really long time before they're even close to getting to a rack to do barbell front squats or back squats, or even to a kettlebell or a dumbbell. It looks silly, it's definitely not the sexiest exercise, but it's where those athletes need to be before they can squat well. Pushing this or not staying here long enough and then going right to the weight, it's never going to correct itself. It's just going to get worse and worse and worse. And if you start to put weight on top of a bad squat, you're definitely going to hurt yourself. So if you can't reliably squat with just a little bit of an assist, and it feels like you need these to squat well, and not just kind of do these half squats or kind of lean way back and hold on, you just got to be here for a while. And maybe even regress the movement even to just the split squat. It's a little bit easier, where we're just doing this squat pattern instead of both legs at the same time. So when you're thinking about your squats, and if you're getting into that full range of motion, and you don't have any reason why you can't get into that full range of motion, you should get over to these things and work it the same way we would with incline push-ups, heavier or lighter weights. If people can't do heavy overhead presses or anything like that, a lighter weight on a barbell for a deadlift, this is how you can regress that squat pattern so you can move forward with better function.